الحمد لله خالق الوجود من العدم وجاعل النور من الظلم ومخرج الصبر من الألم فملقي التوبة على الندم فنشكره على المصائب كما نشكره على النعم ونصلي على رسوله الأكرم بالشرف الأشم والنور الأتم والكتاب المحكم وكمال النبيين والخاتم سيد ولد آدم الذي بشر به عيسى ابن مريم ودعا لبعثته إبراهيم عليه السلام حين كان يرفع قواعد بيت الله المحرم فصلى الله عليه وسلم على أتباعه خير الأمم الذين بارك الله بهم كافة الناس العرب منهم والعجم. فالحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا. والحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. الحمد لله الذي نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا. فصلى الله عليه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. قال الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولا تقولن لشيء إني فاعل ذلك غدا إلا أن يشاء الله واذكر ربك إذا نسيت وقل عسى أن يهديني ربي لأقرب من هذا رشدا. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. واللهم ثبتنا عند الموت بلا إله إلا الله. اللهم اجعلنا من الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. آمين يا رب العالمين. In today's khutbah, I'd like to remind myself of an ayah that teaching today after some time, at least teaching students right in front of me and also in an academic setting, reminded me of, and I thought that I can benefit from that reminder, and inshallah ta'ala all of you can also. Allah Azza wa Jal revealed in Surah Al-Kahf, after teaching the Prophet ﷺ the story of the companions of the cave, he said, وَلَا تَقُولَنَّ لِشَيْءٍ إِنِّي فَاعِلٌ ذَلِكَ غَدًا. Don't you dare ever allow yourself to say that I am absolutely about to do something, this or that, ذَلِكَ, whatever that is, tomorrow. In this statement, what's the connection to this, to the story itself? The more literary connection, the more direct connection, is that you had young people who did not know that their tomorrow was going to be generations later, right? People had many todays and tomorrows and came and went, and generations came and went, and their parents came and went, and their children and, new generations came up and went and became old and died, and they're still in the cave. And for them, when they got up from their sleep and Allah raised them again, لَبِثْتُمْ يَوْمًا أَوْ بَعْضَ يَوْمٍ, you were here for a day or maybe part of a day. And what Allah is telling the Prophet ﷺ in one really beautiful way isn't just a threat, but actually now you understand that the future is entirely in Allah's hand. He can put time to a stop for someone. He can, or for a group, for those who believe in Him, He can completely change the face of tomorrow. So think of it from the sleepers' point of view. The entire world and everything that they knew to be the world has completely transformed within a day for them. For us, it's, ثَلَاثَمِئَةٍ سِنِينَ وَازْدَادُوا تِسْعًا, up to 300 years or however many years. And there's, lots of commentary about that ayah and what it could imply. But besides that point, they woke up in a new world. And in their mind, that just happened all in the course of a day. Human beings are going to go to bed inside of the graves. You and I, we're going to be buried once again into the earth. The earth, the dirt from which we were created, we're going to go back to it. And when we go back to it and we're raised on Judgment Day, إِلَّا بِثْتُمْ إِلَّا يَوْمًا, we're going to feel like, I think you were out for a day, I think. I don't think we were sleeping for that long. There are people that have been asleep for thousands of years already. And then there's us. And there's people that have been asleep for hundreds of years. And God, Allah knows when Judgment Day is coming, how close it is, how far it is. That's in His knowledge. But we all wake up at the same time and we all think it's been a day since we died, since we went into bed. What is Allah saying in this ayah first and foremost? Is that you don't have definitive, you cannot make definitive plans about what tomorrow looks like. It's not just about whether you are able to do something or not, or I'm able to do something or not, but rather the entire world, the tomorrow, not just of you, but of the sun and the moon, the sky over our heads, the trees around us, the mountains, their tomorrow depends on Allah. He can transform all of it. Our entire reality can change and something can become irrelevant. A mini little example, here on campus, I used to spend quite a bit of time with children in the community and their families, and we decided that we're going to do a road trip, and we're going to go from here in Texas all the way to New York, and we were working on stopping by masajid along the road, like every town, and kind of get to meet a community and keep going and learn something along that journey. And we were working on that road trip, and then COVID-19 happened, right? So we had all these plans and everything was being worked out, and then Allah decides that something else is going to happen instead. And it doesn't just impact us, it impacts the entire world. Allah knows how many infinite numbers of plans there were for people, and business plans, education plans, family plans, all kinds of plans that have been put to a halt because Allah Azza wa Jalla decided that tomorrow will look different. But there's the flip side of it. And the flip side of it is these same young people, when they went into a cave, they didn't know what tomorrow is going to bring. They did not know if they're going to get found, if they're going to get food, if they're going to get devoured by an animal. They know nothing. And they're heading towards a cave. And they said something to Allah that's really beautiful. وَهَيِّئْ لَنَا مِنْ أَمْرِنَا رَشَدًا. Facilitate the right course for us. Make the right course convenient for us and easy for us. They're walking literally up into inconvenience and talking to Allah about convenience, right? And taking the right course. Now the word rashada appears again at the end of the story where the Prophet is told, إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Don't say that you're absolutely going to do this or that tomorrow, except that Allah wills it. Meaning, except you add the clause that unless Allah's will coincides with what I plan to do, whatever I plan to do or think I'm going to do is not going to happen. Now, inshallah, in our culture has become kind of the opposite of what it's supposed to mean. Inshallah, for us nowadays means highly unlikely, but I'm going to put Allah's name on it. Hey, so may I see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock sharp, right? Inshallah. That means don't count on it. And if it doesn't happen, well, I did say inshallah, right? So that means I got lateness insurance. So I should be okay, right? So the idea of inshallah has been taken away from its original spirit. The purpose of it was that you and I have things we want to see happen or things that we're going to do. And we have to understand that whatever we're going to do, we're going to have to make that intention and then turn to Allah and say, Ya Allah, this is my will. This is what I would like to see executed in my will, but my will means nothing if your will isn't coinciding with it. So until your will endorses my will, it won't happen. It's a dependence on Allah, on the future, that a slave turns to Allah and says that and even reminds others of it. That's illa an yasha Allah. But what I wanted to dedicate this khutbah to is the conclusion of this ayah. وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ إِذَا نَسِيتَ. Make mention of your master when you forget. That doesn't just mean, I forgot to say inshallah. 30 minutes later, man, I said I'm going to go to that. I'm going to make sure I finish the assignment. I promise I'll finish the assignment. And I didn't say inshallah. 30 minutes later, inshallah. Allah, can you put that on record? Inshallah. Angels, can you get that please? Because I didn't say it then, now I'm saying it. Yeah, that's also a remembrance. But actually, the remembrance of Allah and the remembrance of your master. Your master means the one who controls your fate, the one who controls your nourishment, the one who controls what you're going to do and what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. That's your master. He says, وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ. Make mention and remember your master. In other words, here you are thinking, you and I are thinking, because we're thinking about the future, what projects got to get finished, what task has to get done, what resolution you have to fulfill, what decisions you've made, whatever you've done, you and I, we start thinking that we're in control, we're in charge. And in that moment, Allah says, no, this is the time where you think you have control, is when you have to remind yourself you have a master over you. It's not just our tongue that has to say inshallah. The inshallah is actually a declaration of how Allah has mastery over our fate, His complete control over our fate. And He says, إِذَا نَسِيتَ. He didn't say, إِن نَسِيتَ. It's so beautiful. He didn't say, make mention of your master and remember your master if you forget. He said, when you forget. So when you forget, you know what that means? That forgetting that reality is inevitable. If you say if, it might happen, it might not happen. When you say when, it's going to happen. It's going in, at some level, we are going to lose sight of Allah's role in what we plan on accomplishing, what we plan on doing, what we plan on saying, the results we plan on seeing. So many situations in which you want to say something to someone or deal with somebody or talk to somebody, and you think the conversation is going to go this way. It's not going to go this way. It's going to go some other way. You think the negotiations are going to go this way. They're going to go some other way. You think you're going to, for example, teach somebody. You think the class is going to go a different way. You can't control how other people are going to perceive or react to what you're doing. That's the will of Allah also. That's also our, and when people don't respond to us in the way that we want to, and when people don't react to us in the way that we would expect them to, then we get angry as if, man, I'm doing my side. How come they're not? They need to conform to, they need to get in line. No, that's the whole point of saying inshallah. Illa inshallah. Not only is my ability to accomplish or do what I'm going to do dependent on Allah, but I have a Rabb who doesn't just control whether or not I'll be able to do it. He also controls the results of it, the effect of it. Everybody can, the farmers can all plant the same seed in the same soil, and some of them will grow and some of them won't. Maybe Allah will not even give some the ability to plant a seed, but the one who is able to plant the seed, maybe Allah won't give that seed the ability to grow. And if it grows, maybe he put the seed, he didn't intend to it. It's a different kind of plant, and he didn't even realize it. You don't know, you can't control what Allah will bring out of it, and this is that dependence on Allah. Now, when you say that, then it's a kind of pessimism too that comes with it, because then you might start thinking, well, it all depends on Allah. I'm hoping this works out, but since I'm saying inshallah, then if Allah decides it's going to just go in a different way, so I should expect that things are not going to go the way that I want them to, right? That's the whole point of saying inshallah. It's not going to go your way, it's going to go Allah's way. Okay, so just know your place. And that's kind of a depressing, pessimistic view, because now you start thinking that my hopes and my aspirations and what I want to accomplish in the future doesn't matter, because when Allah decides, he's just going to just wash it away anyway. What does the ayah do? It protects us from that kind of hopelessness. He says, make mention of your master when you forget, and then say, وَقُلْ, and say. Now, say is also important, because saying is usually to someone else. If I'm told, say this, that would mean say this to your mother. Say this to people around you. Say this to your class. Say means declare. Talk to everybody. But there are situations in which there's nobody around. It's just you who made a resolution to do something, right? So there's no other audience. And yet Allah still says, Qul. You know what that means? Say this to yourself. Don't just remember it in your heart. Verbalize this. The Quran also teaches us to have a spiritual conversation with ourselves. Like to talk to ourselves by the words Allah commanded us to say. This is something that Allah is teaching us to actually say, not just to someone else, but actually to ourselves. And not just in our head, with our tongues, hearing ourselves say it. Now, what is it that Allah wants us to say? And when you verbalize something like that, those are not normal moments. When you're driving in the car, you're usually quiet. You're listening to the radio, listening to a podcast, or you're lost in your thoughts and you're quiet. But then there are moments and times in your life when you're in the car and ain't nobody there, and you're talking to yourself, or you're talking to Allah. And that happens. Oh man, there's nobody listening. You crazy? Who are you talking to? You know what those moments indicate? Those moments indicate times of great reflection and self-realization or determination. Those are powerful moments in a person's life, when they're moved so much by something that it actually gets them to talk to themselves, to have a conversation with themselves. Now, some people, they talk to themselves all the time, meaning talk under their breath all the time. Well, I'm not talking about that. Like people that are making comments at you, but they're making them under their breath. So they said something, but you don't know what they said. That's what'd you say? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen is what I was saying. Right? That's not what I'm talking about. But here he says, declare to yourself, have a realization about yourself. And what's the first thing you should say? Asa. Asa is, it has a few things. Taraji, tawaqqa'. It means possibly, but it also means hopefully. And I'm expecting. It is expected. It is hoped. So Allah is now telling us what to say about the future, not just that it's in the hands of Allah, that only if Allah's will endorses it will it happen. But the first thing I have to tell myself, the first word is hopefully. It is hoped. And this is powerful because now Allah has told His servant to have hope in the future. Before anything else, you have to be hopeful about the future. Doesn't matter what the circumstance. Doesn't matter you're walking away from your family, going into a cave. You're hopeful. Doesn't matter if Rasul's opposition every single day is getting worse. He's hopeful. He's commanded to be hopeful. Asa. And then he says, Asa an yahdiyani rabbi. It's hope that my master will guide me. It is hoped, and there's an expectation, and there's a longing. There's a positive, there's an optimism about the future. And what's the optimism? That my master will guide me. Now this changes our view about inshallah. It guides our view about inshallah. Inshallah was, if Allah decides it'll happen, if Allah decides it won't happen. But now we're learning something about what kinds of things that Allah decide. Allah likes to decide things that help guide His slave. That's what Allah likes to decide. Allah's will is actually the hope that's embedded, that Allah Himself said, tell yourself this. The hope is, and my expectation is, even though I don't know what Allah wills, my expectation is, if I've learned anything about my Rabb from His own words, from the way He describes Himself, He wants me to expect from Him that He Himself is going to guide me. He's going to show me a course, a course of action. I think of the analogy of a ship. The waters are calm and the captain is able to steer the ship in whatever direction and whatever course that he meant to steer the ship in. And then a storm comes that is from Allah. It's not in the hands of a captain to weather a storm. And the only objective of the captain now is not to stay on course, but to survive the storm. And when the storm comes, the ship will be tossed and moved off course. It can be moved off course by hundreds of miles. It will be taken wherever the storm takes it, right? And it so happens in the storms of our lives, when Allah takes our ship in any which direction that we had never expected to be thrown in that place or to be pushed into that place, that even those are Allah's acts of guiding us. And even as you're being smacked by the storm, what's coming out of your mouth is, it is hoped that this is Allah guiding me. That this must be a course of action that is meant for me to be guided. It's not the course I was choosing. Well, this is the course that's heading somewhere else. It's pushing me into some other direction, but it's Him guiding me. Guiding me to what? And that's one of the most beautiful places I've ever read in the Quran for my personal self. لِأَقْرَبَ مِنْ هَذَا رَشَدًا. Please, I've talked about this several times, but I don't get tired of talking about it and thinking about it. And since Allah says in this ayah, say it to yourself. So before I'm even saying it to you, I'm saying it to myself. He says, guide me all the way. Li, lam is lam al-intiha. This is lam al-ghaya. When I say, hey, could you give me directions to the house? That's ila. But if you say, could you give me directions all the way to the house? Now, when you say all the way, it's kind of like saying, that is my ultimate destination. That's where I want to get to. That's my end goal. And that's the Arabic expression lam. The preposition can serve that purpose. So here, the servant is saying to his master, the slave is saying about his master, it is hope that my master will guide me all the way to the destination. Now, what's that destination? He says, li aqraba, all the way to closer than this. This is the expression, all the way to closer than this. Aqraba min hada. It's a weird thing to say in English. It needs a little bit of unpacking. And that's really the purpose of my khutbah, is this concluding phrase. What does that mean, all the way to closer? Think of it this way. Your goal when you're traveling on any journey, if I'm traveling from here to my parents' house, my goal is not to get closer to my parents' house. My ultimate goal is to reach the house itself. I don't feel any sense of accomplishment if I traveled 10 steps, if I traveled 2 blocks. If their house is 20 blocks away, I only feel like I accomplished something when I get there. And that's the lam should be associated with the destination, not the journey. In the ayah, the person talking about the future says, the slave talking about the future says, my hope in Allah is that He will guide me all the way to one more step, closer. Not the destination, but closer means you've made progress towards your destination. It's a strange thing to say, as if Allah is telling us, making progress in your journey, taking a step in your journey is your ultimate goal. That's your ultimate goal. And how do you know you've taken that? How do you know you've achieved the ultimate goal for that day? How do you know? Min hada, from where I am. From this. Where I'm standing now, my hope is the situation Allah has brought me to, or the circumstances Allah has created, or whatever He wills for me in the future, my hope in Allah is that the whole point of that circumstance is to take me a step closer than where I am right now. Step closer to what? Step closer to what? Okay, fine. I'm making closer and closer to, and is it Jannah? Is it heaven? What is it that I'm getting closer to? And that's qualified in the Mumayyiz, Rashadan. Closer than this when it comes to uprightness. It's like I have a crookedness inside me. I have slants and biases and brokenness inside me. And every time Allah puts me through an experience, I am one step closer to being unbroken, to being mended, to being corrected emotionally, to being corrected spiritually, to be corrected in my reliance on Allah, to be corrected in my character, to be corrected in my ability to be patient, to be corrected in my gratitude. One step, it is hoped, whatever experiences Allah has packed for me, whatever He plans to do, that Allah's will, over and above my will, is about guiding me to take one closer step to that which is good, to that which is righteous, towards righteousness. That's all. That's my goal. That's the ultimate goal. You know, it's something that definitely applies to students, which is why I thought of it today. But it's not limited to students at all. How does it apply to students? A student says, man, I want to finish this book, I want to finish this course, I want to get this degree, I want to memorize these surahs, I want to memorize the entire Quran, I want to learn all of this, I want to learn all of that, then I'm going to study this, then I'm going to study that. Did you finish this? Did you get your ijazah in this? Did you finish this book? Did you finish this paper? Did you finish this knowledge? Did you finish that knowledge? And it's always milestones, and it's important to have milestones. But in our journey into the Quran, like if you were studying engineering, it's absolutely critical that you have milestones. If you're getting a bachelor's degree, every year is a milestone. Every several number of credits are milestones. If you're working towards a financial goal, savings, buying a house, whatever, you have financial goals. The same way there's goal setting when it comes to our spiritual goals. But in our spiritual goals, every step we take that brings us closer to being upright is a goal by itself. That step was a goal, not the destination. For a Quran, my Quran students, my Arabic students even, what do I tell them? I tell them, if you made some progress today, you have achieved your ultimate goal. You don't say, kids do this when they're memorizing Quran, and some kids are in the madrasa and stuff like that. They're like, I know this much now. And then the other kid goes, but you don't know this much. And the kid goes, that's a lot I don't know. Your goal was one step closer is joy. I know one more word of Allah. I learned about one more ayah. I implemented one new thing. I found one more reason to be grateful to Allah. Allah opened one more drop of wisdom from His word on me. One more. Yeah. If you start thinking about what you don't know, you're going to live a life of anxiety and never appreciate what you actually do know, or the steps you actually are taking. As a learner, taking even the smallest steps are moments of joy. They're absolutely moments of joy. The same way as a believer, taking small steps away from darkness. As a believer, taking small steps to better yourself, to better myself. Taking small steps to better your environment. Whatever small steps you're taking. even if it's a little bit, that itself was an ultimate goal achieved. And sometimes we don't want to make changes Allah wants us to make, so He puts us in very uncomfortable situations so we can humble ourselves to what change we need to make. So we can realize that He wants us to take a step back and say, Allah put me in this situation. What is He teaching me here? And it's not He's punishing me. That's not the attitude. The attitude is this: He put me in this situation to guide me to something closer towards goodness. People that are mindless about Allah, you know what Allah does? They mess up, and a lot of times what Allah does is they mess up, and Allah makes the world even more convenient for them. He opens life up for them. They get happier. They get happier. And then they do more sins, and Allah opens another door, and they get even happier. They get validated in their wrongdoing. You know? كُلًّا نُمِدُّ هَؤُلَاءِ. Each of them we extend in this way, these people. We extend and extend and extend. أَمَرْنَا مُتْرَفِيهَا فَفَسَقُوا فِيهَا. Many places in the Quran Allah describes this concept. وَيَمُدُّهُمْ فِي طُغْيَانِهِمْ يَعْمَهُونَ. He extends them in their rebellion. You want to try one illicit drug? I'll open up the door to 20 more. Here, take a choice. Go ahead. You want to make those choices? Here you go. And then for some of the slaves He loves, when sometimes He makes them fall and slip or mess up, and conveniences and comforts are taken away from them. Protections are taken away from them, because that's when there was a small hafwa from them. There was something missing in their turning to Allah, and that became a favor from Allah to them, because that changed the course of action in their hearts, and they found the need to turn back to Allah and correct something and make it more upright. لِأَقْرَبَ مِنْ هَذَا رَشَدًا. So even in difficult circumstances, we thank Allah that He's giving us. He may be taking something worldly away from us, but He may be giving us something so much more powerful and so much more timeless and valuable. And that is a step closer to being guided, a step closer to Him, a step closer to righteousness, goodness. Hey, we needed that refinement. You know, you could have delicious meat, but it needs cooking before it's truly delicious. Otherwise, it has bacteria in it. It has diseases in it. You can't eat raw meat. There are some, materials that in order to be refined, they have to be put under the heat. This is a process of the believer's refinement that you and I have to go through, and we have to understand that Allah Azza wa Jal, whatever path He takes us on, is going to be for our own benefit. And the ultimate benefit will be that we become upright. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us people that benefit and from having hope and optimism in Allah Azza wa Jal, and really ultimately benefit by increasing our faith and our reliance on Allah, and changing our course towards a more upright way of living as the days go by, as Allah teaches us through the experiences and the trials that He wants us to go through to come out stronger. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikril hakim. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على أفضلهم وخاتم النبيين محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. قال الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. عباد الله رحمكم الله، اتقوا الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. أقم الصلاة إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.